Okay, we continue. I got this idea from a workshop participant who asked me to do a workshop for his team after he was in one with a higher level entity, which is quite a common thing. And I said, you've been in one of my workshops, so my question is for you is, what is it that you would like to see differently in your workshop? And what he said to me was, we never talked about the elephants in the room. And I thought, that's a really interesting thought. So we put together this process to surface these what we call elephants in the room, which is another word for realities that you don't want to talk about. And so this is part of every workshop now. Teams do this early on so that we can process them and have them available for them later. And there's the cartoon image of the elephant in the room. In terms of the 4D system, we're going a little bit out of sequence now. And the reason is we need time to take these, integrate them, process them, and get them ready to be worked later. One of my favorite stories is about a man named Andy Grove, who was the CEO of Intel. I have great admiration for this guy. He talks about a meeting at the time when Intel was a memory company. And he brought in all his top managers, and he said, the Japanese are hammering us on the costs of manufacturing random access memory. And he said, I want to know what we should do about this. And everybody in the room said, and his management team said, oh, no problem at all. We can beat the Japanese on manufacturing cost. It's really easy. Andy Grove was a smart enough man that he saw this was a head in the sands approach. So he brought his top 3 managers, the people he trusted the most, into the room, into his office, and said, the unpleasant reality is that we cannot beat the Japanese on manufacturing cost. It simply isn't possible. And he said, if we try, the board will probably fire us and replace us with other people, and rightly so. So what I want to do is the thought experiment is that we imagine we're the people they hired to replace us. What would we now do? So they realized they had to get a whole new product line going, and so they began to build microprocessors. And of course, today they dominate the world in the microprocessor manufacturing arena. Really interesting. This would never have happened if he hadn't been willing to address the unpleasant reality. So at this point, all workshop participants organized by team should write their unpleasant realities on one of the white 3x5 cards or whatever this thing is in another country, and then pass them into a second chair who'll pick them up. We'll organize these into a list. Later on, we'll have a process where you prioritize these and pick out the most important 2 or 3. And then as a group, we'll process these with the context shifting worksheet. What we're doing is we're changing the context from one where the problem is unsolvable to one where the solution appears, and this is reliably the case. Over and over and over we do this, and people get new realizations that were impossible before. So having completed that, we'll move next into innate personalities, and thank you for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.